Hi, welcome to the equation 4. This will wrap up our first 4, and it will show a continuation of the 4 main pillars of our program. Pockets of darkness, life stressors, our self-worth, our value, and our connection to our higher power. These will, after I show you this equation, will give the ability for you to show exactly where you're at emotionally if you're sitting at your desk, riding in the car, provided you can ride without driving okay. They're all based upon a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the highest emotional connection you have to that specific area. Whether it's a positive connection or a negative will be your value, your opinion, your insights. So let's get right into this. Pockets of darkness. We talked about what it represents. Guilt, blame, shame, self-loathing, self-disgust, all those things people have done to us, and all those things we've done to other people. Those are the things we're going to talk about. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you get a piece of paper right now, we can go over this a little bit. Get it ready. Because the next issue we're going to talk about are life stressors. Those are the things of relationships, finance, job, health, anxieties, any area outside that brings internal pressure upon you. The other area we're going to talk about is self-worth. This is how you value you. And you're going to be able to need to defend why you believe there's a number there. And I'll show you how that. So don't get over apprehensive about this. We'll take this one step at a time, nice and slow. And finally, the connection to a higher power. And remember, this is twofold we talked about earlier. The acknowledgement of a higher power and the relationship. So, let's get in this. Pockets of darkness. Remember, it's all of those things. We also have that little voice that makes us distinctive and unique from those people who we call normies, that don't have our disease of addiction, that also have issues from childhood to this very moment. Remember, these issues are not all activated at once. There will be specific issues that are activated and used by the disease to return you to your active addiction. And this is where the insight has to come in. You have to do some work to find out specifically what are in here for you. A couple of mine are, as I talked about earlier, I was molested as a child. I also have a divorce on my issue, which in my religion says you don't get divorced. I was also not elected a crossing guard in 6th grade, and that's a real disappointment to me even today. Also, I got an A- on my last final, and that still upsets me. Those are still issues that come into here today because part of my disease is about perfectionism. I don't believe I should make an error. I give other people the ability to make mistakes, but not me. It's because of self-loathing, self-centeredness that I don't want to be out-ridiculed, laughed at, thought of less than. But when I connect to something greater than myself, it allows me to be me. And guess what? I make mistakes. I'm a human being. The only thing is, I don't drink or use, no matter what. And as I stay in this recovery process, it avails me the opportunity to do something different other than run to a substance or under a person, place, or thing. I can take an honest look, an assessment of what's going on inside my pockets of darkness, and that way I can do this equation. So we come up here, pockets of darkness. You'll need to be able to know exactly what's going on. So let's go ahead and give it a number. Let's say I had a 7 anxiety level. That's what I'm stating I have. And let's just run through it and we'll come back and break it down a little bit more. And then I come over to my life stressors, and I typically would come in and say, well, maybe I have a 5 or a 6, so let's just say 6. Then I come down here to my self-worth, and wow, I'm feeling really good about me, or maybe I'm really feeling bad about me. So maybe I'm a 2, because remember, up here, a 10, the highest association, means I'm emotionally connected to pockets of darkness. Down here, a 10 would mean I'm walking on water, I'm great, I'm the cat's meow. All of these things going on. And then I talk about a connection to a higher power. And typically somebody says nothing, which we have to have a 1, remember. We're talking about whole numbers. Or they'll come up and go, I'm a 10 because, you know what, I go to church on Sundays and I feel good and I'm forgiven. All these great things. So we next go back to, we start over. We go back into what specifically is so tormented in your life right now. What area? And they'll go, well, everything. And it can't be everything. It's an impossibility to have these all active at once. Specifically, something's going on and I need the ability to call that. So let's say they talk about, oh, well, I'm back in here and, you know, I haven't paid my bills and I've got things going on, and I value it at a 7. And that's fine. That's legitimate. So we'd go on to the next area. Life stressor, we're saying it's 6. That means it's really out of control right now. So we're talking about relationship issues. And relationship issues can also go into significant others, friends, and family. Also, we have financial situations. We have job issues. We have health issues. And some of us have anxiety issues that are beyond the normal range of just coming into recovery and being overwhelmed by life on life's terms. So these are issues. They're talking to have a state at level of 6. And that's where they value it at. And that's what they've discovered, because they're saying, I have no money, and I doubt if I'm going to have my job, and, you know, my health situation I'm unsure of. So normally they feel anxious about these areas. So that's legitimate. So we come down to self-worth, and they're saying, I'm at a level of 2 because, you know, I put my life in such jeopardy and I've harmed those. Or you have the person that says they're a 7 because guess what? They're really feeling good about how well they're doing, and they know they can do it right here, not being honest and evaluating that they've got a lot of situations and a lot of problems that they've started and they have to go back to. So how can you feel so great about yourself when you've got all of this turmoil and wreckage that you're going to have to deal with that you have created by your choices and actions? So maybe there's somewhere in between the split. You're going to have to learn the ability to be honest about the numbers and the placement of them. So you play around with it, you massage it, you talk about it, and you get honest. So somewhere in between, maybe they have a self-worth of 3 because, you know what? They're in treatment, they're doing something about their problem, and they believe they have a future without this because they've got the concept. They are not powerless over their addiction, that it's always been about choice. Of course, driven by pockets of darkness, all this pain, anguish, and fear in here, but now we've discovered drinking and using never solved anything, and it never will, and that it is possible for me to learn other coping skills other than believing a drink would solve the problem or the use of a drug, which will inevitably cause me in my life at some point. So we're on self-worth. But now they come over here to a 10. Remember, 10 is the acknowledgement of a connection to a higher power through an acknowledgement of that higher power, and right here to the relationship of that higher power. It is through the relationship that we are able to live with these issues in our pockets of darkness. We do not have the power to forgive ourselves. Something greater than ourselves loves us unconditionally, and through that we are allowed to accept that and there live in spite of these situations in here. And this relationship is based upon unconditional love, forgiveness, and acceptance. With these 3, we are able to live in spite of these. Without this, the voice will start talking and the emotional pain will start escalating. But what we have today are the coping skills and tools that you've been learning in your meetings, in your readings, and hopefully through this process here that I've given you. This will allow you to have those moments of pause, of safety, where you can reconnect to this relationship. Because without this relationship, you will not survive very long. You will be treading water, and it's inevitable that you will drown. You can only tread for so long. This is the answer to our problem. This is the problem. Everything else in between that you're ever going to learn is of giving you the ability to stay around long enough so you can reconnect to this relationship with your higher power. Because remember, we talked about, it is about control, why we drink and use. Because whether you come from the point of a dominator in relationships or a codependent, however you define yourself, you're still looking to control this person, place, or thing because you want to know what kind of feeling you're going to have. You want to know what the outcome's going to be. You want to look at the back of the book. That is why we have control issues. When I give up control to something greater than myself, and here again, I'm talking about spirituality as opposed to religion. For me personally, I use the sun. It rises every morning, and I know Vince didn't make it rise. So that tells me there's something out there greater than myself. That allows me to go about my day and take care of Vince's little footwork to get what Vince needs to get done. The relationship is offered to me whether I ask for it or not. And for me not to accept this relationship is the height of arrogance once again in my life. Because I'm telling my higher power, no, you're wrong, I'm right, I don't deserve this relationship. I'm not worthy of it. There again, I'm playing higher power once again, which shows I'm taking my control back, which means I'm going to be living in fear at some point in time, which means I'm going to listen to the voice that tells me I'm not worthy of anything, I'm not a decent person, and eventually I'm going to believe, I'm going to forget about my biology, and I'm going to believe that I can use again, or I finally get honest and go, I know I can't use, and I don't care at this moment whether I live or die. I just got to get rid of this pain. That's what we're up against. Something that hates us unconditionally against something that loves us unconditionally. This is where we need to be, everyone. This is where we need to go. So I have this equation here now. So I look at the numbers. I got a 7 and a 6. Let's go to how that works out. 7 and 6 is 13. This is real simple math, because believe me, if it was higher math functions, I'd be lost. And then we come over here. We decided on a 3 and a 10, giving us a 13. And that equals a 1. And 1 means we're right on the abyss. We're looking over the edge, because we have to be above 1 is danger for us. Below 1 is we're safe. We want to get far down below 1 as we can. But let's look at what these mean now. We have a number 10 here. It means I'm unconditionally loved, forgiven, and accepted. I acknowledge a higher power. That automatically gives me a 10. But what's in this relationship? I'm saying I have a 10. How can I have a 10 here when I'm living in so much fear and anguish up here? What this means, I wouldn't be a 7 in here, even with these issues that I have, because I'm unconditionally loved, forgiven, and accepted. That means something greater than all of those people outside that are looking to harm me emotionally. They don't have any more buttons to push. They can't harm me. I'm forgiven, I'm loved unconditionally, and I'm accepted for who and what I am at this very moment. I don't have to live in this anymore. It's who I was, past tense, but it's not who I am today, and the beauty is it's never ever who I have to be again. That's the beauty of this. I don't have to be this slimy person again. I don't have to be here. I'm loved, unconditionally forgiven, and accepted. But here, with this number, it says I'm still a lousy loser. I'm still living in here. This says I'm still living in fear, because even though these are legitimate, what they do is they show that, you know what, I'm going to be okay if I really believe this. I'm going to be okay. It might be not where I want to be today, but eventually I'm going to be okay out here, and it might take 6 months. If my house burns down today, I'm not going to like where I'm at, but that gives me the opportunity to do something down the road, because we can't always be at Disneyland. We have to face life on life's terms, and sometimes that's adversive to how we want to be it. We don't want to be outside of Disneyland. This shows I'm not living, I'm not believing in this unconditional love, forgiveness, and acceptance, and that I'm going to be okay. This self-worth number, that's probably the most legitimate number they have in this equation, because it's showing a 3, and I've already said that I'm in treatment, I'm doing something about my problem, and I can do okay. 7 shows that I feel I'm great about me, and I've worked through all this process, and I'm not living here. Simply put, the higher this number is, the lower these numbers will be. As they go up, these go down. Consequently, this will rise my self-worth, my value, because I realize I don't have to be this person again. I'm doing something about my problem. I'm not living in fear anymore. Fear is a lack of faith. If I'm saying my number over here, and that's why you need to be very aware of this dual relationship of this equation right here, of the acknowledgement of a higher power in relationship. Most people have no problem acknowledging something greater than themselves. This is never talked about in traditional programs. This is where you need to get to. Without this, you're going to be dancing around this for a little while, and eventually you fall in. as evidenced by around the people that continue to go out time after time after time. This is the equation. This will give you an opportunity to see where you're at ideally. And I'll run through my little pockets of darkness real quick. Pockets of darkness for me right today, and this is always about here and now. It's not how I felt yesterday. It's not how I might feel about tomorrow. It's always about here and now, because that's all we have. So pockets of darkness for me right now is about a 2. And the reason there and what I have in there is, you know what? I still don't have a relationship with my daughter. And I remember being such a rotten father and not being there for her. And it's still, I've been clean almost 18 years next week. And there again, it comes down to, I remember how bad I was here. How I wasn't there for her. And today, she's still carrying that. But something greater than myself that loves me unconditionally has forgiven me. I'm not that same man, that same animal that I used to be. Today I'm something different, and the beauty is, like I said, I don't have to ever be that guy again. So I wait for my daughter. When she's ready, I'll be here. I'm not running anywhere. Because even though I'm in emotionally pain, drinking and using isn't going to solve anything for me. So I'll wait right here. The next part of it is life stressors. Well, financial. One of the big problems of our disease of addiction is we spend money to cover up emotional pain. And I'm not immune from that. The difference is I'm aware of it and I can do something about it before I go too far down where I can't back out. So that's probably about a 2 right now. My self-worth, I'm really feeling good about me. I'm doing this video. I'm getting to help other people and help myself. I'm giving to give back something this person didn't used to do. It was all about me. And I don't have to be that guy again. That's the beauty of this. That's the excitement for me of this. So I'm cruising right now about a 7. My connection to my higher power is, I know I'm unconditionally loved. I'm forgiven. I'm accepted. You know how? I didn't have to use today. I didn't have to use. So that's about a 7. You have to watch when this number gets too high, because we're really not able to connect to that all the time. These are momentary moments of that bliss, that pink cloud, that one with the universe we talk about and we're always seeking. Disneyland. That's not a reality. I always have to go home. So again, here's my numbers. And I have to watch personally when I get here in my self-worth, because I start thinking it's all about me again. And that's danger. I know it, so there again, I'm aware of it. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm just so high and having the opportunity to help other people. So here we go. So that's a 4. That's 14. So what we're going to do is take this bottom number and we're going to divide it into this number. So we're going to have 0, and we're going to have what? 28, which gives me a remainder of 12, and I'll put that over there. And if your math is better than mine, what do we got? An 8? Yep. I got an 0.28.